So as we brought the Tantive IV into our, let's say, maintenance, conservation, stories, our all-around purpose area that we use at the museum for taking a closer look at the sets that we are working on. Actually, it wouldn't be the conservation, because conservation is actually a different room where we kind of relight it to be all sorts of different lighting schemes and environments. For here, we're in our museum, we're taking our Dyson with the soft brush head attachment and going to town over all of the exposed areas of this particular Star Wars set. This is one of the smaller sets that we're going to be working on in our time at the museum, just because we do have a fair amount of Star Wars sets that we still have, but they haven't been built yet. So we do have quite a bit of sets in our backlog. Our second test tool that we use in our, let's say, dusting challenge and work and task, I suppose, is the high-powered electric blower. So this just kind of blows any of the dust off that we didn't get with the Dyson soft brush head. But in reality, the soft brush head is going to do the most out of any of the tools that we have. But for getting into those small corners, the high-powered blower actually helps quite a bit. So taking off each of these little sections of the Tantive IV will allow us to, start to dust within the interiors. Now we'll say a couple times that in the interiors don't really have a huge accumulation of dust, so we don't have to be all that careful about it, but we still try our best to make sure that every portion of the set is taken care of. So moving on to the portion of the maintenance film where we're going to be kind of checking all of the pieces, making sure nothing's fallen off and everything's kind of, pushed together as well as they possibly can. We'll start off with the very front of the Tantive IV. So the cockpit section here, large paneling details that we just have to push together to make sure that they're on. The middle of the frame, like the cockpit panels are put together at a middle frame juncture here, which we're just gonna push all of these slanted pieces to make sure that they all fit correctly. The center hull and mid-fuselage portion of the ship here has a couple pieces that can be taken off, meaning like the top roofs and the top panelings of the roofs. So we're just gonna push all the little greebling details just to make sure that it's all pretty tight. The top panel is going to move, as we told you before, because it is intended to pop off. But there's some small greebling details like this one, so just making sure that it's rotated in the correct way, as some of the greebling details kind of can become a little bit askew. Pushing on the fuselage with fins to make sure that they're all on tight. This bit actually does come off as well, as we'll show you later. And then the teeny escape pods, which also has some detailing, greebling detailing here. The main engine array is pretty sturdy. We just want to make sure that there's no loose pieces here. With these kind of greebling details on Star Wars ships, it's a little bit more difficult to check whether a piece is missing. And then let's turn the Tantive IV around so that we can look at the rear. So there's 11 rocket engines, just pushing all of the, let's say, flame pieces. Just make sure that they're all on sturdy. Top row of the engines here, I mean, it's on, I don't really remember exactly how it's all connected together, but it's pretty sturdy, even though the actual cylindrical portion of the engine does move around a fair bit. But for the most part, it is pretty sturdy on there. Turning it around one more time. Now we'll start to get into some of the other details of the ship, mainly all like the moving details, just to make sure that they all work. So the blasters hinge backwards like so, and hinge forwards pretty well. There's some stud shooters there too, and the entire structure rotates. It's not a very smooth rotation. It's kind of like it like clicks a little bit, but that's totally fine because it's pretty sturdy. Now these port blasters rotate very, very easily. Port, I just mean like port side of the ship. It rotates pretty easily. Starboard side, exact same thing. Rotates like a charm. And that little blaster portion is a little bit of a delicate piece, so we have to be a little bit careful there. Now, these fuselage fins, I don't imagine they're designed to be, or you're not supposed to actually move them or hinge them, but they are unhinged pieces, so we always just double check, make sure that they are moving without any struggle. The pop-up handle on the top allows you to actually carry the Tantive IV and swoosh it. The bottom-mounted rotating blasters are a little bit more easy to rotate than the top ones, but it's a little bit harder to access, we will say that. Rotating the Tantive IV around so that we can look at the starboard escape pod. It has a removable top panel, which allows you to put a small minifigure in there. And we can put the escape pod back onto its holding position. The port escape pod is just a mirror image of that. I believe we do have a C-3PO inside of here. Yep, there we go. Same removable top panel. So put that back on and then put the escape pod back onto the Tantive IV. Rotating once more so we can take a look at the last removable portion of the Tantive IV. It's the rear fuselage area where we have extra rockets stowed away. There are, the rockets are right underneath the cockpit area, which we don't really like keeping because it looks a little bit I don't really like those kind of shooters. So we don't typically display them on our shelves here. And the middle fuselage is where the main cabin is, where we have a nice cabin interior with some chairs and, just it's nice to be able to look inside and then just make sure that there's no loose pieces. I don't believe there's only that, let's say, binoculars pieces on the right-hand side, but that's about it. Putting the cabin roof paneling back on. And then I believe we're ending with the cockpit here, the removable cockpit top panels. There's some, let's say, like chair pieces here, or like places for the minifigures to sit. And they're very, very loose pieces. They're not on super steady, so just make sure that they're there. Make sure that they haven't fallen off. Let's go back and do our finishing touches on this set. So we'll reset here and bring the Tantive IV back into our normal setup so that we can do our finishing final touches. Now, this isn't expressly necessary for anyone who is working on dusting your sets. It's just something that we do here because we're not necessarily filming every portion of these films in chronological order on the same day. So because of that, just making sure that we get any of the dust off that we might have missed or has accumulated over the last, let's say, day or 2 days or so. Actually, dusting with a makeup brush is how we used to dust every single one of the Lego pieces that we had. So thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you'd like to see more, and we'll give it a quick spin and see you next time.